The case I'm going to share with you right now is a case that we're adding for all training. Almost everywhere I travel and I meet with the advisors and I talk about what's important in their lives, it seems I can't get out of a conversation without them asking, how are they going to monetize their business? Who do I know out there that's buying practices or businesses? How much can they get for their business? What's the ideal model for a business? So one of the things we decided to do at eMoney is we created an advisor case, a case that looks and acts just like an advisor and a spouse, so that you can play with it, engage it, and then look at your own options, and also at the same time get very comfortable with the platform. So let me share you this case. It's Paul and Lynn Price. They're 56 and 55 years old. They've been married 23 years. They have two children, Michael, 26, and Stacy, 24. Paul owns a financial planning business, not practice, and he's had that ownership for about 20 years. He's doing quite well. He makes $450,000 a year after all his expenses, and we know what all that means. And then $100,000 is what his wife earns, and she works at a local school district. They have a $350,000 lifestyle, though. So their big concern is, can they maintain that lifestyle, or do they have to reduce the lifestyle? I got them convinced at the first meeting to reduce it to $250,000. They didn't need the same lifestyle they have now. So they want to see if they make it. They have a net worth of about $4.6 million. $2 million is investable assets. Some of it's in qualified money, some of it's in non-qualified money. Good news is Lynn has a $60,000 pension. That's going to help a lot. And I need to show her her pension. And then he knows he needs to start planning like his clients plan, which is very interesting because we all meet with our clients and talk about financial planning and business continuity, but rarely we do it in our own practice. Who are we going to sell it to? Do you sell it to a younger person, or do you sell it to a competitor? And what kind of value can I get from my business? So one of the things at eMoney is for the advisors, we'll help them identify a ballpark value and then put it in the plan. And they'd like to project different potential sale prices. They're concerned about outliving their assets, and that's everyone's concern. And they want to see what their retirement lifestyle is going to be, a realistic one, not just a random one. So let's give them a peek at their case. So here's all the options I put in. Now, obviously, as an advisor yourself, you can keep going way past this, but I wanted to have a little fun with you. So right here is without selling the business, which has paid all the bills for so many years, they make it to age 84 if they were to retire. And then Paul asked me, he says, what if I retire at 60, right? Now, it went down. And the first thing a client would say is, why did it go down? I retired at 60 that much. Well, you're starting to spend your assets sooner, and you've lost your income. And that's enormous. So right away, I would say, Paul, I wouldn't do that. Now, if Paul turns around and says, I'll consult, which was what Paul said, for 5 years, it doesn't go all the way back because we're still spending money. And I would say, Paul, if you're going to work to consult for 5 years, let's just keep working for those years. So let's get rid of that. All right? Now, let's say that in this case, he sells the business at 65 and he retires at 65. What happens? Pretty good plan so far. Now, if he sold the business for $1.8 million instead of $2.5 million, what kind of impact would that be? All right, so right now I'm going to tell him you need to sell for $2.5 million. I would also, put it back, please. I would also at this point tell them what books to get, because there's a model, and that based on the model of how your business is set up with recurring revenue, how much is coming from investments, the age of your clientele, you can get the max value. And also the location of your clientele. Bigger cities are going to get more than the smaller cities. So that is going to be really important, and by the way, he has plenty of time to modify his business and how it looks. Now, next thing I would tell you to do is downsize the condo at 65. You net $400,000 of assets because you're going to get less of a house, and you're also going to save $20,000 in taxes and improvements. Looking pretty good now, doesn't it? Now here's where it gets interesting. He wants a country club membership at another country club, and he wants to pay the $15,000 in dues, and he wants to travel the world together. They both have this goal, to travel the world and pay $25,000 a year on trips. All right? Now, show me Monte Carlo. Let's see the probability of that working. And then I'll show you the probability that he's going to get a country club. Upside looks good, downside looks scary, 7-9. Country club, deep trouble. Let's take it off. His wife is not going to concede the travel. And then after you do that, take the country club fee off. This one's tight. This is 68%, people. So at the next meeting I have with this family, they're not going to be living on $250 for life. I'm going to have to modify the income goal. We're going to have to give them a realistic understanding of what they can have through their retirement. Not necessarily going to be a fun meeting, but a necessary meeting. We can close our eyes and pretend that's happening, but that has to be addressed. So I got unlimited scenarios. I got a lot of things I can go over with this family. In fact, why don't you show the list of all the things we're going to talk about and can talk about at the next meeting. I may have to sit down and tell them they've got to find additional income, modify their home, change the way they're looking to sell their business. They may have to retire at 67, 68 instead of 65. They may have to rebalance portfolios. There's reverse mortgages. There's all kinds of things that I can help them with. And that's my job at the next meeting.